All right. Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. So, we are continuing our reading of Julius Caesar with Act 3. To recap what went on in Act 2, quite a few things went down. At first, was warned by Calpurnia. She had a very crazy dream. Some crazy stuff's been happening in the rainstorm. Her are kind of taking the soothsayer's word seriously. If you remember from Act 1, the soothsayer saying, "Beware the Ides of March." Caesar at first doesn't want to go, but the conspirators, Brutus, Cassius, and company, convince him to go, where they're going to essentially betray him. So they convince him to go. They kind of play up on his um, arrogance and his, I guess, dominance in a way, but they convince him to go to the capital where they're going to enact their plan. Will they enact their plan? Will Caesar finally wise up and realize that something's wrong? Let's find out as we move into Act 3 here, starting with Scene 1. Right off the bat, if this is your first episode of Dixie's Tales from Labyrinth, welcome. If not, welcome back. But if you are indeed new here, we normally do read poetry and analyze poetry, but sometimes we do readings such as this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the text itself, then we're going to read the synopsis here and then elaborate on that. And this is courtesy of the Folger Shakespeare Library. They will be linked in the description once I actually update my descriptions, and they will be linked here, so you can check out this link. It's folger.edu and look up, and you can see here, you see Explorer, you have Shakespeare's works here, Shakespeare in print, Shakespeare in performance, all kinds of things related to Shakespeare, of course, and you can find the entire play here. Here, the entire play is lined out, or you can go act and scene by act and scene, of course, or depending on where you want to jump to. So you can check them out. You can read it on your own time. You can open it and follow along with me as we read, or you can do neither. That is totally fine. It's up to you. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Flourish. Enter Caesar, Antony, Lepidus, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Decius, Metellus, Trebonius, Cinna, Populus, Artemidorus, the soothsayer, and other senators and petitioners. There's and a partridge in a pear tree. Man, that is a lot of people, but that's quite a bit of people. So let's see exactly what's going down. And also, really quickly before we actually get into it, you may notice some of these stage directions and such as these. I'm not gonna read all of these. Some of these ones, like the entering and exiting, only because it's more the stage direction for when for what the characters are doing on stage, because of course this is a stage play. It's just translated over to text, obviously, but so you'll probably see those those and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get right into it. The Ides of March are gone, I, Caesar, but not gone. Or the Ides of March are come, I, Caesar, but not gone. There we go. Hail, Caesar, read this schedule. Trebonius doth desire you to read, at your best leisure, this his humble suit. O Caesar, read mine first, for mine's a suit that touches Caesar nearer. Read it, great Caesar. What touches us ourselves shall be last served. Delay not, Caesar, read it instantly. What is this? Is the fellow mad? Sirrah, give place. What urge you who your petitions in the street? Come to the capital. And Caesar goes forward, the rest following. And I wish your enterprise today may thrive. What enterprise, Populus? Fare you well. Or Popilius, I think it's pronounced. What enterprise, Popilius? Fare you well. And he walks away. What said Popilius Lena? He wished today our enterprise might thrive. I fear our purpose is discovered. Look how he makes to Caesar. Mark him. Casca, be sudden, for we fear prevention. Brutus, what shall be done? If this be known, Cassius or Caesar never shall turn back, for I will slay myself. Cassius, be constant. Popilius Lena speaks not of our purposes, for look, he smiles, and Caesar doth not change. Trebonius knows his time. For look you, Brutus, he draws Mark Antony out of the way. Hey, Trebonius and Antony exit. Where is Metellus Cimber? Let him go, and presently prefer his suit to Caesar. He is addressed. Press near and second him. Casca, you are the first that rears your hand. Are we all ready? What is now amiss that Caesar and his senate must redress? Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar, I think that's how it's pronounced, puissant Caesar, Metellus Cimber throws before thy seat an humble heart. I must prevent thee, Cimber. These couchings and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men, and turn preordinance and first decree into the law of children. Be not fond to think that Caesar bears such rebel blood that will be thawed from the true quality, with that which melteth fools. I mean sweet words, low crooked curtsies, and base spaniel fawning. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fawn for him, I spurn thee like a cur out of my way. No, Caesar doth not wrong, nor without cause will he be satisfied. Is there no voice more worthy than my own, to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother? I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Cimber may have an immediate freedom of repeal, or have an immediate freedom of repeal. What, Brutus? Pardon, Caesar. Caesar pardon. As low as to thy foot doth Caesar fall, doth Cassius fall. Man, I cannot speak today. As low as to thy foot doth Cassius fall, to beg enfranchisement for Publius Cimber. I could be well moved, if I were as you. If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. But I am constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with unnumbered sparks. They are all fire, and everyone doth shine. But there is but one, and all doth hold his place. So in the world, 'tis furnished well with men, and men are flesh and blood, and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one, that unassailable holds on his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he. Let me a little show it, even in this, that I was constant Cimber should be banished, and constant do remain to him to keep him so. Oh, Caesar, hence wilt thou lift up Olympus? Great Caesar, doth not Brutus Bullus kneel? Speak hands for me. And as Casca strikes, the others rise up and stab Caesar. Et tu, Brute? Then falls Caesar, and he dies. It's liberty, freedom, tyranny is dead. Run hence, proclaim, cry it about the streets. Some to the common pulpits and cry out, liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement. People and senators, be not affrighted, fly not, stand still. Ambition's debt is paid. Go to the pulpit, Brutus, and Cassius too. Where's Publius? Here, quite confounded with this mutiny. Stand fast together, lest some friend of Caesar's should chance. Talk not of standing, Publius, good cheer. There is no harm intended to your person, nor to no Roman else. So tell them, Publius. And leave us, Publius, lest that the people, rushing on us, should do your age some mischief. Do so, and let no man abide this deed, but we the doers. And all but the conspirators exit and enter Trebonius. Where is Antony? Fled to his house amazed. Men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run, as it were doomsday. Fates, we will know your pleasures, that we shall die we know. 'Tis but the time, and drawing days out, that men stand upon. Why, he that cuts off 20 years of life, cuts off so many years of fearing death. Grant that, and then is death the benefit. So are we Caesar's friends, that have abridged his time of fearing death. Stoop, Romans, stoop, and let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood, up to the elbows, and bespear our swords. Gross. And walk we forth, even to the marketplace, and, waving our red weapons o'er our heads, let's all cry, peace, freedom, and liberty. Stoop, then, and wash, and they smear their hands and swords with Caesar's blood. That also gross. Also, I'm sure her somewhere Hangman Page is taking notes, or maybe John Moxley, whichever joke comes first. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted over in states unborn in a sense yet in accents yet unknown? How many times shall Caesar bleed in sport that now on Pompey's basis lies along, no worthier than the dust? So oft as that shall be, so often shall the not out of us be called, the men that gave their country liberty. What, shall we forth? Aye, every man away. Brutus shall lead, and we will grace his heels with the most boldest and best hearts of Rome. Oh, and enter servants. Soft, who comes here? A friend of Antony's. Thus, Brutus, did my master bid me kneel. Thus did Mark Antony bid me fall down. And, being prostrate, thus he bade me say, Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar was mighty, bold, royal, and loving. Say, I love Brutus, and I honor him. Say, I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus will vouchsafe that Antony may safely come to him and be resolved, how Caesar hath deserved to lie in death. Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead, as so well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus, his thorough the hazards of this untrod state, with all true faith. So says my master Antony. Thy master is a wise and valiant Roman. I never thought him worse. Tell him, so please him come unto this place. He shall be satisfied, and, by my honor, depart untouched. I'll fetch him presently. And the servant exits. I know that we shall have him well to end. I wish we may, but yet have I a mind that fears him much, and my misgivings still fall shrewdly to the purpose. And then enter Antony. But here comes Antony. Welcome, Mark Antony. O mighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy conquests, glories, triumphs, spoils shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no hour so fit as Caesar's death's hour, nor no instrument of half that hat worth as those your swords made rich, with the most noble blood of all this world. I do beseech you, if you bear me hard, now, whilst her purpled hands do reek and smoke, fulfill your purpose, live 1,000 years. I shall not find myself so apt to die. No place will please me so, no mean of death, as here by Caesar, and by you cut off, the choice and master spirits of this age. O Antony, beg not your death of us, though now we must appear bloody and cruel, as by our hands in this our present act, you see we do, yet see you but our hands, and this the bleeding business they have done. Our hearts you see not, they are pitiful, and pity to the general wrong of Rome, as fire drives out fire, so pity, hath done this deed on Caesar. For your part, to you our swords have led in points, Mark Antony. Our arms in strength of malice, and our hearts, of brother's temper, do receive you in with all kind love, good thoughts, and reverence. Your voice shall be as strong as any man's in this disposing of new dignities. Only be patient till we have appeased the multitude, beside themselves with fear. And then we will deliver you the cause, why I, that did love Caesar when I struck him, have thus proceeded. I doubt not of your wisdom. Let each man render me his bloody hand. First, Marcus Brutus, will I shake with you. Next, Caius Cassius, do I take your hand. Now, Decius Brutus, yours. Now yours, Metellus. Yours, Cinna. And, my valiant Casca, yours. Though last, not least in love, yours, good Trebonius. Gentlemen all, alas, what shall I say? My credit now stands on such slippery ground, that one of two bad ways you must conceit me. Either a coward or a flatterer, that I did love thee, Caesar. Oh, 'tis true. If then thy spirit look upon us now, shall it not grieve thee dearer than thy death, to see thy Antony making his peace, shaking the bloody fingers of thy foes, most noble, in the presence of thy corpse? Had I as many eyes as thou hast wounds, weeping as fast as they stream forth thy blood, it would become me better than to close in terms of friendship with thine enemies. Pardon me, Julius. Here wast thou bade, brave heart. Here didst thou fall, and here thy hunters stand, signed in thy spoil and crimson in thy lethe. O world, thou wast the forest to this heart, and this indeed, O world, the heart of thee. How like a deer strucken by many princes dost thou here lie. Mark Antony. Pardon me, Caius Cassius. The enemies of Caesar shall say this. Then, in a friend, it is cold modesty. I blame you for not praising Caesar so. Oh, but what compact mean you have to? What compact mean you have with us? Or let me try it one more time. But what compact mean you to have with us? Will you be predicted number of our friends, or shall we on and not depend on you? Therefore I took your hands, but was indeed swayed from the point by looking down on Caesar. Friends am I with you and all, and love you all, upon this hope, that you shall give me reasons why and wherein Caesar was dangerous. Or else were this a savage spectacle. Our reasons are so full of good regard, that were you, Antony, the son of Caesar, you should be satisfied. That's all I seek, and am, moreover, suitor that I may produce his body to the marketplace, and in the pulpit, as becomes a friend, speak in the order of his funeral. You shall, Mark Antony. Brutus, a word with you. You know not what you do. Do not consent that Antony speak in his funeral. Know you how much the people may be moved, but by that which he will utter? By your pardon, I will myself into the pulpit first, and show the reason of our Caesar's death. What Antony shall speak, I will protest. He speaks by leave and by permission, and that we are contented Caesar shall have all true rights and lawful ceremonies. It shall advantage more than do us wrong. I know, not what may fall. I like it not. Mark Antony, here, take you Caesar's body. You shall not in your funeral speech blame us, but speak all good you can devise of Caesar, and say you do it by our permission. Else shall you not have any hand at all about his funeral, and you shall speak in the same pulpit whereto I am going, after my speech is ended. Be it so. I do desire no more. Prepare the body, then, and follow us. And all but Antony exit. Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do ope their ruby lips, to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war, and all pity choked with custom of fell deeds, and Caesar's spirit ranging for revenge, and which with 8 by his side come hot for hell, shall in these confines with the monarch's voice cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with carrion men groaning for burial. And then enter Octavius his servant. You serve Octavius Caesar, do you not? I do, Mark Antony. Caesar did write for him to come to Rome. He did receive his letters and is coming, and bid me say to you by word of mouth, O Caesar, thy heart is big. Get thee apart and weep. Passion, I see, is catching for mine eyes. Seeing those beads of sorrow stand in thine, began to water. Is thy master coming? He lies tonight within 7 leagues of Rome. Post back with speed, and tell him what hath chanced. Here is a mourning Rome, a dangerous Rome, no Rome of safety for Octavius yet. Hie hence, and tell him so. Yet stay a while. Thou shalt not back till I have borne this corpse into the marketplace. Ere shall I try, in my oration, how the people take the cruel issue of these bloody men, according to the which thou shalt discourse. To young Octavius of the state of things, lend me your hand, and they exit with Caesar's body. So the synopsis for this scene is let's scroll all the way back up. In the street, Caesar brushes aside Artemidorus' attempt to warn him of the conspiracy. Once inside the capital, the conspirators gather around Caesar under the guise of pleading for the return of an exile. Beginning with Casca, they stab Caesar to death and bathe their arms and hands in his blood. Ignoring Cassius' advice, Brutus gives Antony permission to speak at Caesar's funeral. While pretending to support Brutus, Antony plans to use this opportunity to turn the Roman people against the conspirators. So Caesar is dead. Caesar was killed by the conspirators, people he thought was his friends. I guess just goes to show you that you can't trust everybody, unfortunately. But Mark Antony is very sad about it. He shakes hands with the people who killed Caesar, I guess, to kind of save face and to save appearances. But as you can see here, he plans to use Caesar's funeral to turn the Roman people against the conspirators, and we will see how that unfolds as we move into scene 2, I should say, into scene 2 here. So, enter Brutus and Cassius with the plebeians. And sorry, I just had to take a sip of water there, but we will be satisfied. Let us be satisfied. Then follow me and give me audience, friends. Cassius, go you into the other streets and part the numbers. Those that will hear me speak, let him stay here. Those that will follow Cassius, go with him. And public reason shall be rendered of Caesar's death. I will hear Brutus speak. I will hear Cassius and compare their reasons when severally we hear them rendered. And Cassius exits with some of the plebeians. Brutus goes into the pulpit. And I think the plebeians are more so just like the people, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway. The noble Brutus is ascended. Silence. Be patient till the last. Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear. Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor that you may believe. Censure me in your wisdom, and awake your senses that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demands why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living, and die all slaves, than that Caesar were dead, and to live all freemen? As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that would be a bondman? If any, speak. For him have I offended. Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any, speak. For him have I offended. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? If any, speak. For him have I offended. I pause for a reply. My goodness, yes, I definitely cannot speak today. Probably something in the air, but that's I pause for a reply. There we go. None, Brutus, none. Excuse me. Then none have I offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol, his glory not extenuated, wherein he was worthy, nor his offenses enforced for which he suffered death. And enter Mark Antony and the others with Caesar's body. Here comes his body, mourned by Mark Antony, who, though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not. With this I depart, that, as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself when it shall please my country to need my death. Live, Brutus, live, live! Bring him with triumph home unto his house. Give him a statue with his ancestors. Let him be Caesar, or Caesar's better part shall be crowned in Brutus. We'll bring him to his house with shouts and clamors. My countrymen, peace, silence. Brutus, speak. Peace, ho! Good countrymen, let me depart alone, and, for my sake, stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse, and grace his speech, tending to Caesar's glories, which is Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. I do entreat you, no, not a man depart, save I alone, till Antony had spoke. And he descends and exits. Stay, ho, and let us hear Mark Antony. Let him go up into the pulpit, into the public chair. We'll hear him. Noble Antony, go up. For Brutus' sake, I am beholding to you. And he heads into the pulpit. What does he say of Brutus? He say for Brutus' sake, he finds himself beholding to us all. 'Twere best he speak no harm of Brutus here. This Caesar was a tyrant. And nay, that's certain. We are blessed that Rome is rid of him. In peace, let us hear what Antony has to say. Let us hear what Antony can say, I should say. You gentle Romans, Peace, ho, let us hear him. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. Well, he was my friend, faithful and just to me, but Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome. Whose ransoms did the general coffers till? Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal. I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here am I to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withhold you, then, to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it comes back to me. He does weep. Methinks there is much reason in his sayings. If thou consider rightly of the matter, Caesar has had great wrong. Has he, masters? I fear there will be a worse come in his place. Marked you in his words, he would not take the crown. Therefore 'tis certain he was not ambitious. If it be found so, some will dear abide it. Poor soul, his eyes are red as fire with weeping. There's not a nobler man in Rome than Antony. Now mark him, he begins again to speak. But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you who all know are honorable men. If I will not do them wrong, I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, that I will wrong such honorable men. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will. 'Tis his will. My goodness. Excuse me. There we go. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read, and they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory, and, dying, mention it within their wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto their issue. We'll hear the will. Read it, Mark Antony. The will, we will hear Caesar's will. Have patience, gentle friends. I must not read it. It is not meet you know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men, and, being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you, it will make you mad. 'Tis good you know not that you are his heirs, for if you should, oh, what would come of it? Read the will! We'll hear it, Antony. You shall read us the will, Caesar's will. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wrong the honorable men, whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. They were traitors, honorable men. The will, the testament. They were villains, murderers. The will, read the will. You will compel me then to read the will. Then make a ring about the corpse of Caesar, and let me show you him that made the will. Shall I descend, and will you give me leave? Come down, descend. You shall have leave. And Antony descends. Pretty much means walk down. A ring, stand round. Stand from the hearse, stand from the body. Room for Antony, most noble Antony. Nay, press not so upon me. Stand far off. Stand back, room, bear back. If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. 'Twas on a summer's evening in his tent, the day he overcame the Nervii. Look, in this place ran Cassius' dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made. Though the well-beloved Brutus stabbed, and, as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out of doors to be resolved. If Brutus so unkindly knocked or no, for Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all, for when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude, more strong than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him. Then burst his mighty heart, and, his mantle muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen! Then I and you and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep, and I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops. Kind souls, what weep you when you behold our Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here, and Antony lifts Caesar's cloak. Here is himself, marred as you see with traitors. O piteous spectacle! O noble Caesar! O woeful day! O traitors, villains! O most bloody sight! We will be revenged! Revenge! About! Seek! Burn! Fire! Kill! Slay! Let not a traitor live! Stay, countrymen! Peace there! Hear the noble Antony! We will hear him! We'll follow him! We'll die with him! Good friends, sweet friends, let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. What private griefs they have, alas, I know not, that made them do it. They are wise and honorable, and will no doubt with reason answer you. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I am no orator, as Brutus is, but, as you know me all, a plain, blunt man, that love my friend, and that they know full well, that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit, nor words, nor worth, action, nor utterance, nor the power of speech, to stir men's blood. I only speak right on. I tell you that which you yourselves do know. Show you sweet Caesar's wounds, poor dumb mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I Brutus, and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would ruffle up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should have the stones of Rome to rise in mutiny. We'll mutiny. We'll burn the house of Brutus. Away then, come, seek the conspirators. Yet hear me, countrymen, yet hear me speak. Peace, ho, hear Antony, most noble Antony. Why, friends, since you go to do you know not what, wherein hath Caesar thus deserved your loves? Alas, you know not. I must tell you then, you have forgot the will I told you of. Most true, the will, let's stay and hear the will. Here is the will, and under Caesar's seal, to every Roman citizen he gives, to every several man, 75 drachmas. Most noble Caesar will revenge his death. O royal Caesar, hear me with patience. Peace, ho! Moreover, I should say, he hath left you who all his walks, his private arbors, and new planted orchards. On the side Tiber, he hath left them you, and to you, your heirs forever, common pleasures, to walk abroad and recreate yourselves. Here was a Caesar, when comes such another? Never, never, come, away, away, we'll burn his body in the holy place, and with the brands fire the traitors' houses. Take up the body, go fetch fire, pluck down benches, pluck down forms, windows, anything, and the plebeians exit with Caesar's body. Now let it work. Mischief, thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt, and enter a servant. How now, fellow? Sir, Octavius is already come to Rome. Where is he? He and Lepidus are at Caesar's house, and thither will I straight to visit him. He comes upon a wish. Fortune is merry, and in this mood will give us anything. I hear him say Brutus and Cassius are rid like madmen through the gates of Rome. Belike they had some notice of the people, how I had moved them. Bring me to Octavius, and they exit. So, a lot went down in that one. So the synopsis here is that Brutus explains to the people that the cause of Caesar's assassination was the preservation of the Roman Republic from Caesar's ambition to be king. And Mark Antony, bringing in Caesar's body, refutes Brutus' charge of ambition against Caesar, displays Caesar's wounds, and reveals that Caesar had made the common people his heirs. Inflamed by Antony's words, the people set off to attack the conspirators. The servant then informs Antony that Octavius Caesar, Antony's ally, has come to Rome, and that Brutus and Cassius have been forced to flee. So, like I said, a lot went down with this one. On a couple things that we have to get into. For starters, that's what you get for underestimating Antony. They kind of the conspirators kind of said like, oh, Antony, he won't speak unless has spoken to. He's kind of like meek. He's very passive. It try to make it seem like he's not going to be able to do much. So they allowed him to speak at the funeral. Bruce said, you can't talk bad about us. But Antony, he doesn't directly talk bad about them. He calls them honorable men, but it's a bit more sarcastically in a way. Shows the people Caesar's wounds and kind of flips the script on the words of Brutus and Cassius, what they told him. So Antony kind of works the crowd a little bit, which is smart how he went about it. He technically found a little bit of a loophole. Well, and that people is why NDAs are important, even though I know they didn't have NDAs back then. And man, Bruce, you should have had Antony sign an NDA, but and he tried to make him do like a verbal NDA, but Antony said screw that. He essentially, like I said, turned the people in a way against conspirators by showing them Caesar's will, that Caesar making the people his heirs, pretty much giving them money and things like that. So the people are riled up. They're back on Caesar's side, and they're going after conspirators. Now, the people who here are portrayed as very sheep-like, where they'll believe just about anything, which I guess isn't too far off from real life, but not necessarily for the Romans, but just some people in general. Some people. I didn't say all people, just some people. But Brutus and Cassius are able to work them and convince them, and they're against Caesar. And then Antony, with just a few words, is able to bring them back over to Caesar's side and pretty much debunk Brutus's claims and things like that. But the other thing is that the historical accuracy of Caesar's death, and admittedly, I did kind of forget to talk about it when Caesar actually died in scene 1, but I'm glad that Antony's explanation here in scene 2 allows me to expound on it even further and add more context to it. It's been debated, kind of the accuracy of Caesar's death, how it's portrayed here, like in the actual play. It's very dramatized. It's very dramatic. He stabbed a bunch of times. He said, "Oh, it's who Brute, then falls Caesar." Or now in real life, Caesar had been stabbed several times. I believe they said about 20 times, but only one of them was fatal. So, Shakespeare, who had studied Roman literature and everything, and kind of flipped that and said, one of them was fatal, even though he was stabbed 20 times. Although I'm sure the other 19 stabs really hurt, of course, and a lot of blood leaking out. So what if that last stab was Brutus, his very good friend? And Brutus's intentions, out of all the conspirators, seem to be seemingly the most noble, saying he did it for the good of Rome, kind of manipulated in a way to do it for the good of Rome. Cassius saying, this is for the good of the Romans, for the Roman people. Caesar's a tyrant. He's bad, everything. And Brutus kind of believes him. He kind of falls for it. I guess Brutus not 100% villainous in that regard. Or so the way the composition that I think is interesting, but so Antony flips things over. So how will things continue to unfold as we wrap up Act 3 with Scene 3? Let's find out. Octavius, his Caesar, is here in Rome. He has appeared, and her Octavius, I forget exactly what Octavius Caesar's relation was to Julius Caesar. I believe he may have been a distant cousin, if I'm not mistaken, and so don't quote me on that. But he is an ally of Antony, and so Antony and Octavius are going to get together and figure out what to do. And the people have already chased. They've heard enough. They're already chasing Brutus and Cassius out of Rome. So how will things continue to unfold? Let's find out as we move into Scene 3. So enters Sin of the Poets, and after him the plebeians. I dreamt tonight that I did feast with Caesar, and things unluckily charge my fantasy. I have no will to wander forth of doors, yet something leads me forth. What is your name? Whither are you going? Where do you dwell? Are you a married man or a bachelor? Answer every man directly. Aye, and briefly. Aye, and wisely. Aye, and truly, you were best. What is my name? Whither am I going? Where do I dwell? Am I a married man or bachelor? Then to answer every man directly and briefly, wisely and truly, wisely I say, I am a bachelor. That's as much as to say, hey, they are fools that marry. You'll bear me a bang for that, I fear. Proceed directly. Directly, I am going to Caesar's funeral. As a friend or an enemy? As a friend. That matter is answered directly. For your dwelling, briefly. Briefly, I dwell by the Capitol. Your name, sir, truly, my name is Cinna. Tear him to pieces, he a conspirator. I am Cinna the poet, I am Cinna the poet. Tear him for his bad verses. Tear him for his bad verses. I am not Cinna the conspirator. It is no matter. His name's Cinna. Pluck his name out of his heart, and turn him going. Tear him, come, brands. Ho, firebrands. To Brutus, to Cassius, burn all. Some to Decius' house, and some to Cascas, some to Ligarius's. Away, go. All the plebeians exit, carrying off Cinna. Oh boy, so this one's short. Okay, so the synopsis here is Cinna the poet is attacked and killed by the Roman mob because his name is the same as that of one of the conspirators. So this one kind of way to cap it off, kind of a funny scene. You know, we had a lot of heavy stuff. Caesar died, and Antony very sad about the funeral. This is more kind of a funny. It's messed up. It's pretty messed up scene, but it's also pretty funny. Cinna the poet is attacked by conspirators just because his name happens to be Cinna and happens to be the same one as the one that killed Caesar. Or you'd be surprised how often that happens. Like people get the names mixed up, they're pretty much like, yo, what's your name? Cinna. Hey, it's Cinna. It's the guy who killed Caesar. Or Cinna's like, no, I'm not that Cinna. I'm Cinna the poet. And then one of them says, tear him for his bad verses. Like, hey, man, your poetry sucks. But it pretty much shows the plebeians / the Roman people are out for blood, essentially, to the point where they're gonna kill the wrong Cinna. Like I said, it happens way more often than you think. Like, the last thing I want is for, like, some guy named Nigel to do something very bad, and then I get blamed for it. Like, that definitely would suck. And I've even seen stories of, like, certain people who have the same names and like same first and even sometimes last name, sometimes even middle initial, of people who did some bad stuff and got arrested accidentally. Like the cops have the wrong guy. That's pretty much what happens to Cinna here, and I fear that happening to me, or like I match a description, like a physical description of some guy who did some like pretty messed up stuff of like that would definitely suck. And Cinna the poet is accidentally killed off because he happened to be the same name as the guy who killed Caesar. So, if anything, that one's kind of on Antony. Like he stoked up the people. He should have said, like these people, these are when they killed Caesar. Oh, but Cinna. There is another Cinna. You know, there's the Cinna that killed Caesar, but there's also Cinna the poet. That guy's fine. It's Cinna the guy who killed Caesar, not Cinna the poet. Cinna the poet's fine. If anything, that's kind of on Mark Antony. But you know, Cinna, you probably could have changed your name. Probably like, oh wow, this guy that killed Caesar. Maybe I should change my name to something else. I don't know if name changes were really common back then, but yeah. So kind of more of a lighthearted, funny scene, as messed up as it is. But how will things continue as we move into Act 4? Stay tuned next time and find out. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see it as soon as it drops. It'll let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Julius Caesar, on Act 3, how the story's unfolding so far. Are you enjoying it? Are you not enjoying it? Are you enjoying my kind of analysis of it, my reading and analysis of it? Are you not? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.